But anyway, so you'll see my videos titled, you know, like, and it's just got to cut off because the GoPro only records in 11-minute segments, and I'm at like 11:57, so there's gonna be like another little short video finishing it off. So if you see it kind of the content on this channel jumping around, that's what's happening. So you're gonna see these videos probably in July. So when you see it, it's like if you see me riding around in July, okay, you'll know everything went well. But some of the footage you're seeing is also still from last year. One thing I've learned about the GoPro, and I was talking to other riders, and they said the same thing. Oh, you just ride with it on? Oh, yeah, but that's a lot of editing. And so I got all these minutes, these videos that are like 3.5 gigs, or almost 4 gigs each. Quiet dog. You don't hear the cats interrupting the video. You don't hear the cats barking. Dang dog. Always interrupting my video. It takes a long time to upload those. So I still got probably a 50 or 60 11-minute videos from last year, me just driving around with the chest rig on. So these videos are going to be the same. So to edit them all together, I just can't keep up that. I'm going to keep the editing for like when I go to an event or something like that. But I also too, you know, anybody, not just with a TT600, whether you got an R6 or whatever, or any bike, maybe you have a Harley, whatever. Some of the stuff here might be, well, I don't know about the fuel injection. Well, yeah, Harleys are a fuel injection now, but maybe you got a dirt bike, okay, maybe it's a 2-stroke. Yeah, a little bit different things, but some of the stuff that I'm going to be showing you is generic, and again, I'm relearning it. Have to kind of go over all the old stuff again. But so far, one of the big, I'm going to do a little segment once I'm done this, of things that just to, whenever you're working on your bike, for example, have a pen and paper, have tape. Like, you'd be surprised what you don't need. People buy a lot of tools they don't need or never use, and they neglect what they do need. So like today I found out that a 16 millimeter, like this is probably a historical first of a 16 millimeter socket ever being used. Nobody ever used, like, there's, what's 16 millimeter? But apparently my spark plug wrench is 16 millimeter. Or I could use the Allen nut. So it's very cool that how well that worked. But it's nice to have both. And yeah, so as I'm doing stuff, I'll also know too, like, there's my motorcycle kit on the ground there. There's already, number one, throw a 10 millimeter socket there and a small ratchet, and a Torx, a number 15 Torx for this bike. You're going to know this stuff. We say, why didn't they put that in there? Why didn't they put this tool in there? Why didn't they put that tool in there? So you can improve on that kit just by putting in maybe 5 more, 12 more little tools or sockets or whatever, and then you could pretty much rebuild the entire bike on the side of the road almost, you know what I mean? And it's just that little, like, for example, if I had to get into the airbox, that kit does not have the Torx to get in there. You know what I mean? Like, that would be nice to have in there. So that's really like the most basic, bare minimum, enough to maybe adjust a chain and you know, take off the fairing and check your spark plugs. That's pretty much all that kit can really accomplish. Maybe a few little other things, but that's it. But it's like, you know, nice to build on that, and make a list as you're doing it. So it's like, hey, this bike requires this socket. You know, it requires this number of Torx, and then you could set up a toolbox, just a little toolbox specifically for your motorcycle with just the tools. Every tool. There won't be a thing on the bike. I mean, obviously, you won't be carrying it with you, but there won't be a thing on the bike you can't work on, and you don't have to go looking for stuff, which saves you time. 90% of my time that it's taking me is just finding the stuff I need and whatever. You know, this little tool, that little tool, although it's not a lot that I got to do, but the setup takes more time than the actual work itself. Like, taking out the plugs is nothing, but to take off the tank, to take off the fairings, you don't have to take off the fairings to get to the plugs, but you get the idea to get at the other stuff. That's the stuff that takes all the time, right? Is the preparation to prepare to work. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to do a discussion on the plugs. We're going to get them out in the better light so you could really see them good. And yeah, so if you see my videos are split up and it just cuts off, well, the next day you'll probably see the following video. So it'll be just titled part 1, part 2, and when because I'm going to have so many of these videos coming out. If you are a Triumph TT600 owner, I'm the guy you're going to want to follow for the next little bit, because I'm working on it, and you might not learn everything from me, but again, and I'm still, like, I'm not a licensed mechanic either, so, but I did work in a bike shop, and I picked up a lot of tips, but that was like 25 years ago, so I got to remember those tips and stuff like that. And as I do things, if they work, you'll know, and if they don't work, at least you got me as a guinea pig to figure out what works and what doesn't work, so that you don't mess up your motorcycle either. And like anything, just because it might work for me, it might not work for you, but at least you'll know what to research. And I'm going with the philosophy, while I have it apart, might as well check this, and this. What's slowing me down is I can't find my feeler gauges, so I won't be able to gap my spark plugs right yet. But the spark plugs are not too bad to get to. But the fuel injection stuff, I'm seeing some other guys doing some different tests, and I'm like, okay, well, I'd rather do that before I just start ripping everything out. And there's a lot of tests I can do just to see if my injectors are good. I do have the tools for that. To do that, to test that, so I'm going to test that. As I test it, I'll show you. So hopefully the GoPro angles are okay. I am going to inspect each one of these coils. I'm going to clean them up because they are kind of dirty. They probably haven't been serviced, and especially this one. Look at how dirty this one is. Wow, that one's really dirty. That's pretty cruddy. So yeah, this probably hasn't been serviced, ever. Judging by the look of those plugs are probably 15 years old. So I'm gonna maybe not, who knows, but I'm gonna definitely I'm gonna clean them up and see if the bike runs a little bit better. All this stuff will all contribute to making it run a little bit better, but if it doesn't run better after doing all this stuff, then I know it's something in behind here, meaning probably valve adjustment or something like that. And I lost my little feeler gauge. Don't know where it went. And yeah, so anyway, I'm going on a little bit long now, but this is kind of like the part 2. So we're going to get into this discussion of spark plugs. I got to go find my guru book from years ago. I know approximately where it is, but again, you're searching for all this stuff. Something that takes you 10 minutes to do, it takes you half an hour to freaking set up, right? So it just kind of is what it is when you're not set up to do it, in a proper. And again, I'm working in pretty confined space here. Garage full of all it needs is, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so the next video we're going to go into really detailed spark plug testing with the ohms meter, and we're also going to, this will translate to any vehicle you use, even your small lawnmowers or whatever. So we're going to get into that, so that's going to be a pretty big discussion. I like to get into real depth on stuff, not just 5-minute, okay, here's how you do it. If you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, it's not really helping you in the long run. You need to learn a lot more. Obviously, go to a mechanic school, you'll learn the most, but if you just want to be internet student, there's lots of great stuff out there, but this will be kind of like a one-pit stop for a lot of people. Like, okay, I've already done this, I've already done that, and as I'm doing it, you can watch it, one video at a time, on the downtime or whatever, so that if you ever have to do it yourself, at least I could save you a lot of time by saying, well, I'll put in the footwork for you now, and that way at least I'll get you started at which direction you need to go, what to research, so that when you do research it, you're not, you know what you're looking for. Like, for example, the coils. If you don't know what a coil is, okay, well, hey, that's a coil. Well, maybe how do I test that to see if it's good? Rather than, and you'll read this story online all the time. Okay, bike was running rough. I ran out and bought plugs. Plugs are going to cost anywhere from $44 to $88 to $72 plus tax. So I'm looking at anywhere from $60 to $100 just to replace these plugs. Okay, but what if the plugs are fine? Yeah, they might be just dirty. That happens. That happens with wear and tear, right? I'm having a hunch that one of those plugs is going to be probably not good, but if that's the question, then that would explain the funniness in the, it might be good enough to run, but it's probably not running at top. So anyway, we'll get looking at the plugs, and again, all the things I'm going to do to this bike, you're going to see it. Might as well make it a learning experience. Also, filming slows me down. This is why it's probably going to take me about 4 days. So this is day 2. If I'm really lucky, maybe if I can get all the hoses, IAC V-valve hoses cleaned, and the fuel injectors out. The fuel injectors, I can work on the fuel injectors all day tomorrow. Won't take me all day, but it takes time. I want to not only clean them, But I also gotta set up an apparatus. I gotta make the apparatus to clean them. And then what I gotta do on top of that is I've got to test them. Then what I gotta do after I test them to see which one's the weakest one, then I gotta clean them. So there's a lot of stuff. But the next time I do it, I'll have all the tools and everything I need. So then it's just okay, bang, 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 and it takes me like 3 hours to do everything that's going to take me 4 days the first time around. I'm just estimating 4 days because I only work on the bike about 4 hours a day because I have other things to do too, right? So, and also taking my time writing things down, especially if you're new at pad and paper. As you find things that are broken, write it down because I've already got a little bit of a list. I've only found 4 things. I haven't found anything really scary yet, but for example, the hole in the fuel pump strainer. Nice to know that now. It's not a big hole, but it's a hole nonetheless, and I definitely want to make sure that I get that replaced out. Hopefully I can just replace that little bit. You know how some of these things are. Like for example, the plastic fitting on the bottom there. If you break one of those, you got to buy the whole unit apparently. So it could be that stupid that it's okay, I just need like a 30-cent strainer here. So if I can't get that, then I got to figure out another way to filter that my fuel tank. So because that obviously sucking in whatever sucks in through the big thing, a chunk of dirt goes through the fuel pump, that's going to end up in my engine, so which could be catastrophic in the long run, so or even in the short run. So anyway, I'm going to get to it. We're going to do the spark plug test, and hopefully that'll help a lot of people. All right, have a good day.